Hey everybody, welcome back to CALLOUS Invitational 7, Round 1, another highlight pairing here. It is McMeghan, also known as Roro, against Jester. McMeghan coming off a really good SPL and has just been one of the best ADV players for a lot of years. And then on the flip side of that, Jester, maybe not as long of a resume as Roro, but last year went significantly deeper than Roro and deeper than most people in this tournament. Made a nice little run for himself and is looking to do it again. This is one of the 2 or 3 real standout pairings of round 1, in my opinion. One of the previous ones definitely lived up to the hype. One of the previous ones definitely did not. What we're going to get out of this, I don't know. Haven't watched the games. Looking forward to seeing it for the first time myself, just as you guys might be here. Here is game 1. McMeghan's on the bottom, Jester's on the top. Celebi lead, a little unusual, usually indicates a baton pass variant of some sort. And T-Tar on the top, way more common. When I see Celebi plus Milotic, I immediately think that it is some kind of Swords Dance team, SD pass. It also could just be like a balance with Magneton, Lax, that kind of thing. But I'm wondering immediately if it's SD pass, and Jester may or may not have the same thought. But he does land a Toxic and then a successful taunt on Milotic, preventing Refresh. Zapdos comes in, had he tried to go for Surf there, but instead Roro switches up to Skarmory. Zapdos obviously with the advantage of that matchup as well. Straight Thunderbolt, eats it, spikes up, but he takes 93% for his troubles. Hopefully worth it to him to get that spike down. Gonna protect and gain some lefties, but he's still, even after double lefties, going to be in the red, and the threat of another Thunderbolt should force him out here. I doubt McMeghan just gives it up for free. He does not. He goes back to the lead Celebi. And Jester not messing around, just going straight Thunderbolt, doesn't get cute, trying to make a prediction, just attacks. He does land a critical hit, so Celebi takes 46% there, now suffering from a Toxic as well. Recover is going to get him briefly back up to a hundo, but the Toxic is going to start to tick down. Not a huge deal at first, but as the move works, it gets progressively worse, as you know. Thunderbolt again, and a missed Leech Seed for Roro. So Zapdos apparently quite the menace for him. Celebi sooner than later is going to have to get out of the way here. And now it's Baton Pass. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't stay in, but here's Dugtrio trying to get him on a Leech Seed or a Recover turn. And he is successful in that endeavor. This Toxic is going to knock Celebi into range to be eaten by HP Bug. Like so. Critical hit didn't matter there. And the Pokemon advantage in this opening game belongs to Jester. However, we've got Dug on Dug. Not clear who's faster. Seems to be Roro and or a speed tie. But either way, Earthquake equalizes us at 5. And now we're back to this. Here is the Zapdos yet again. Claydol going to be the switch, possibly into Toxic. He's going to go for Hidden Power, actually. Alrighty. So Hidden Power, Grass or Ice. We still don't know. Either one super effective in this case. Magneton comes in, so double Trapper for Roro, which also makes sense with the Celebi. BP to the Trappers and do all sorts of shenanigans here. Magneton out of the way of Swampert, certainly indicating that it doesn't have HP Grass, but Jester respected the possibility anyway and switched to Gengar just in case he had tried that. He might be able to Thunderbolt him or taunt him here. And Roro switches. Instead, he anticipates the switch and goes for Will-O-Wisp. Right move, wrong result, missing the 75-25 on the doll. And now Pert reappears. Jester has not shown a way to remove that spike. Might just not have one. Have to deal with that for the rest of the game. Psychic there, 17%. And here's Milotic. Surf there, very little. Just 23%, even with a critical hit. Is still suffering from the poison from before, but we also know that it has Refresh. Would have been a good chance there for a Focus Punch, but Swampert seemingly doesn't have that. In fact, he doesn't seem to have Earthquake either. It might be a Mono Pert going for Surf here. Yeah, might be a Mono Pert. Here comes Zapdos. Probably just Refresh for Roro. And indeed, Refresh makes Toxic go away. 5-5 game. Hidden Poke still in the back for Jester. Doll in. And Dahl in on T-Bolt, blanking it and gaining some lefties, but probably can't do anything other than boom on it that the Zapdos cares about back. Magneton, hidden power, bounces off. Magneton, not exactly a bulky poke, so even with the resistance, it still takes an okay chunk, but it shall live to fight another day, certainly. And it is a leftovers Magneton, which I personally like lefties Magneton more than most people, but it's pretty uncommon these days. Even on Magdoll, a lot of people still run Magnet. Milotic coming in on Bliss. Blissey dipping out. And we end up with water on water, but Milotic always has the advantage in this one-on-one. And Swampert probably not going to stick around for too long. Goes for Protect, which is a little curious. Must have thought that Roro was going to go for an offensive move there. And that is correct. Does, in fact, try to get him with Toxic. Out of the way. Here comes Bliss. And it's going to be Toxic again. So there's a clock on her, and the full team for both players now revealed. That Spike, confirmed, not going anywhere, and at least 3 pokes. Well, 3 or 4, depending on how you want to look at it, but 3 living pokes for Jester are Spike's week. Zapdos Milo here. Magneton reappearing. And it's going to completely blank the Toxic this time. And it's managed to lefties its way up back to almost full health again. BP out of the way. Swampert going to be the answer. And Toxic wide and left. Not sure if that matters or not. Monopert, which I believe that this is, does often carry Refresh, so maybe that wouldn't have been the biggest deal in the world. But for now, an annoying miss from McMeghan. Still 5-5 in what could be a grindy game here. I think Jester is going to have a hard time winning. And I think McMeghan's team is just always going to have a hard time winning, just given the way that it's structured. Sturdy, safe, passive, which is often his MO. Gengar on Milo. Will-O-Wisp misses yet again. 0 for 2 on those. And Surf is going to put Gengar in not a good place at just 22%. Does he have Destiny Bond? Is he going to try to take Milo with him? Here comes Dahl, and he does not go for Destiny Bond. He simply tries to T-Bolt the Milotic, but that will be blanked entirely by the Dahl coming in and being immune. Gonna go for Boom on the way out, better than nothing, 55%, not exciting, but Gengar wasn't going to do too much more. Might as well do something on the way out. Boom is the play, and Dahl is down to about a third after it gains lefties. Magneton repeatedly coming in to check this Zapdos. Zapdos not really breaking through it. In comes the lead T-Tar for Jester that we haven't seen in quite a while. And it's certainly representing Earthquake here. We have seen Toxic Taunt, which is usually paired with Rock Slide and Earthquake. But I suppose Toxic Taunt, Crunch Pursuit also does exist. Though that requires a Magneton, which Jester doesn't have. So he's probably just Rock Slide Earthquake. He did show the Rock Slide part of that just now. Dahl going to whiff an EQ. 33%. He stays in, actually, even though Zapdos could have killed him there with Hidden Power, so he must have known it was going to be a prediction. Not really super high payoff there, though, for predicting that switch. He got a Psychic off for 18%, but, like, I don't know. Is that a big deal? Toxic lands on Milo, but we know that it can just refresh it away. Very well may do that here. And voila, no more poison. Surf the best punishment he's got, but just like before, even with a crit, just 22%, that is not going to get it done. Nothing preventing a recover here from McMeghan. And there it is. Blissey going to come in. Once again, nothing preventing that from recovering either. So Soft-Boiled likely going to come down. Toxic puts a clock on her. Ooh, goes for Sing. Alright, well that's an important move for Roro to be aware of. It does miss this time, as it will often do with its crappy 55% base accuracy. Here comes Doug. And gets in on the Soft-Boiled. Good play for Roro, and I don't know, that wasn't the hardest play in the world to anticipate. I question whether Jester should have seen that coming and allowed that or not, but regardless, Here comes the Ice Beam. For lack of anything better to do, it may or may not have killed, depending on the EVs of both pokes, but Roro was obviously not EV'd to always survive, or he would have stayed in there and killed the Bliss, always. So he was worried that the Ice Beam might actually kill him, and he got out of the way. In the meantime, toxic damage starting to get big on the Bliss. Out of the way to T-Tar, stepping on the spike. The Skarm is still alive for Roro. He's just never managed to get another lair down. Easier said than done, I suppose, with how low it is, but it feels like he could get a lair down at some point. Milo taking an against its will nap right now. Does have Marvel Scale, which is why that Rock Slide did so little. Rock Slide again, 18%. And Milo's still sleeping. Ideally, for Roro, it wakes up and clicks for cover, and Jester's going to try to crit or flinch him down. He's going to taunt now in case he tries to wake and recover. But as it turns out, he's just going to stay sleeping. He is still taunted, though, if he wakes up this turn. So here comes Doll trying to come in on Rock Slide, and does so successfully, taking 16%. Zapdos in. And it's a whiffed Earthquake. Doll's been hovering right around this HP for a while now. About a third, a little bit more. Magneton consistently has been the Zapdos check in this game, which has got to be obnoxious for Jester since he has a Dugtrio that normally would kill that Magneton, but not in this game. Protect. Earthquake finally shown. No. Goes for Toxic again. Certainly doesn't mean that he doesn't have Earthquake, but he didn't go for it there. Skarm comes in. Can he anticipate that? He cannot. He whiffs with an Earthquake. Rock Slide there would have killed Skarm, but now it's going to get 2 turns of lefties and maybe be able to get a spike down later. Going to Rock Slide into it, of course, but protected against. And now Doll coming in on Rock Slide. Yeah, Roro anticipating Jester very well, and Jester being very straightforward and predictable with his moves here. Now it's Swampert reappearing. Still just the one layer that it has to step on. Probably a pretty defensive Doll to be doing that little with Stab Earthquake. Might be an entirely defensive Doll. I would not be surprised if it had no offensive investment whatsoever based on what we've seen. 2 low pokes staring each other down, but crucially, Blissey, pending a wake up here, can soft-boiled. But Milo was pretty due to wake up. It slept for a lot of turns there, so it was a pretty high chance that it wakes up. And in fact, that's what happens, and the Blissey dies to Surf. So Jester attempted to get it in and get a soft-boiled off, but Milo had napped long enough. And there will not be more than 1 layer of spikes in this game. McMeghan going to give up the Skarm. So a couple quick knockouts here. Leaves us in a 4-3, McMeghan being the 4. Magneton. Here's Swampert again. And it is toxic, so we will soon see if the Swampert does in fact have Refresh. Here comes Milo. And there's the Refresh, but nothing preventing the Milotic from getting a recover off here. This Milo is going to beat this Swampert every single time. And he's going to play it aggressively and go for Surf. That would have both covered the T-Tire and given him a crit opportunity against the Zapdos, but the crit didn't come. He's really not worried about the Zapdos, though. He's been checking it with Magneton throughout the game. He takes just 20% from hidden power there, and he's got lefties. BP. To Swampert. Yup. And Toxic again, but regardless, even if he had clicked Thunderbolt there, I don't see how Jester wins out in this loop. The Milotic can come into the Swampert every time, and there's just nothing he can do. Milotic absolutely going to get a free Surf or free Recover off here, and Jester really doesn't have an answer to that right now. Going to be Surf this time, and Swampert's Retaliation is just Toxic into something that he knows has Refresh, but at least it makes Roro think here about what to do. And he opts for a cover. The counter to that from Jester, gonna be Surf. I will note that in real time, I haven't seen the timer used at all, so these guys clicking pretty quickly in the real thing. Refresh coming down. On a protect turn, so Milo doing just fine, Swampert struggling, and Swampert down. 2 pokes only for Jester. Goes to the Zapdos here, but what prevents the Magneton from coming in, which has been checking it all game long? He's actually going to let the Milotic go. Perhaps he clicked Surf there, anticipating that Jester was going to double switch the T-Tower in, or at least covering that play to make it so he couldn't do that. Magneton comes in safely. Here is T-Tower. Stubs its toe on the spikes. And it is immediately hit with Toxic. Does not Lumberry it away. We know it as lefties. Gonna be stuck with that status effect. And there's Protect, because you know the set. You know it's not a DD-Tar, so no reason not to Protect there. It can't punish you. Claydol comes in. And that gets hit with Toxic. Fine and well, but very likely too little too late here. Rock Slide yet again, going for the Flinch and Toxic combo. No dice. Explosion gets off, and that should pretty much be it. Magneton here can kill both of them, and yeah, I don't know what the out would be for Zapdos and Jester. He would need like full para here, and then dodge Rock Slide from Dugtrio and kill it anyway. Mathematically possible, I suppose, but not the most likely thing. Thunderbolt does not get the power that it needs, and Thunderbolt back does kill the Zapdos. Ended up a little bit closer than it could have been at the end, but Roro felt ahead for the vast majority of that and does, in fact, manage to finish the game. So McMeghan is going to be up 1-0 on Jester as we move to Game 2. In between games, it's a wonderful time to remind you guys that we are accepting donations. We've got just shy of $2,000 right now, which is fantastic for round 1. We're trying to beat last year's total, which would be hitting $2,600. But if we could hit a nice clean $3,000 big boy number, that would be fantastic as well. So if you have the means and you've been enjoying the tournament, please do consider donating. The way that you do that is you go into my Discord server. There's a whole donation section. I've got a link. It is a donation link via PayPal. It is fast. It is secure. It is easy. Literally, you could donate in 30 seconds if you want to. PayPal takes a very small portion, and the rest of it goes straight into the prize pool. I can give you credit for that, and I can give you the roll, and I can announce that you donated, or if you want to just be anonymous and keep it on the DL, that is fine as well. But all the money goes to the players and supports the tournament, and I really appreciate everybody who is generous enough to give some of their hard-earned money to this tournament and to making this tournament a reality year to year. Really, truly couldn't and wouldn't do it without you guys. So, back to the matter at hand. Jester and McMeghan. McMeghan up a game, looking for the 2-0. Jester looking to force a Game 3. Switch those sides for continuity. It'll be McMeghan on the bottom again and Jester on the top again. Jester leads with a Zapdos for the second game in a row, and it is a completely different lead this time. He's led Grass both times, so I guess they do have that in common, but it is going to be Venusaur, and the Venusaur crucially outspeeds the Zapdos here, so probably a max speed Venusaur and probably not the world's fastest Zapdos, perhaps a bulky Zap for Jester. In comes Skarm. And it probably spikes up here without too much issue. Focus Punch trying to punish him the best he can. And the punishment is 42% pre-lefties. Fair enough. One layer down. Focus Punch again. Not disrupted, but rather protected against. And Skarm back up to a nice healthy 70%. Not Focus Punch a third time. Here comes Gar. And roared away immediately, brings the tower back out, which I assume is going to have lefties here. And it does. Focus Punch again. And Protect. Skarm has still not shown one way or another whether it has the ability to disrupt those Focus Punches. Unclear if he's got Drill Peck or something to that effect or not. Focus Punch yet again. And the answer is no. The answer is he's got Toxic instead, which does matter on the T-Tar, but it means that he's going to have to eat the Focus Punch, and he does. He goes to 44%. Pretty obvious turn to protect again. And he does. And Jester takes the opportunity to switch in his Spiker, which is not what I would have anticipated, but he's got himself a Cloyster here. Going to go aggro and Surf. And that's going to also be immediately toxic. So Roro has spread that poison around, and he's got the Spikes advantage right now, like his position at the moment. Magneton, huh? Not sure what that was anticipating, but it comes in on a Spike and can now fire off whatever attack it wants. Swampert, the last poke for Jester, unsurprising. And it is a Thunderbolt, blanked by the ground type. May or may not have Toxic or HP Grass here, but he's not going to show either one. He gets out of the way. Venusaur comes in on an obvious Earthquake turn. Takes that neutrally, not resisted. And 48% is what that does, which would easily kill Venusaur if it were to eat another. But of course, I can threaten it with something like Giga Drain or HP Grass, which he doesn't go for because he knows there's going to be a switch. Goes for Leech Seed instead, heals up to 53, and Gengar is seeded. Out of the way it goes. Rachi in, steps on a Spike. Both players, one layer beneath their feet. Houndoom, not a poke I thought we would see this early in the tournament, but here it is. Scooby Doom threatens the Rachi, obviously, and going to go for Flamethrower into the Tyranitar here, which comes in on a Spike and is poisoned from before. Houndoom probably needs to get out of the way, but decent little chunk there. Skarm comes in and is gone to the Rock Slide. So the first knockout goes the way of Jester. Venusaur reappearing here. Could Leech, could Grass. Either one, acceptable in this case. Gengar comes in, and it comes into a Giga Drain. So Jester gets the better end of that prediction. Venusaur probably gets out of the way here. But then again, maybe Gengar does too, since we know there's a Houndoom in the back. And here it is. And he's going to go for Thunderbolt, which is an awkward roll. 40 leaving the Houndoom at 36. I don't know that the Houndoom lives another Thunderbolt. And out of the way, obligatory second Thunderbolt going to come down here, obviously. And Magneton takes 24%. This Magneton, unlike the last one, does not have leftovers, so any of this damage is going to stick on it. And he's going to go for Toxic, so 3 good turns in a row for Jester. Getting ahead of McMeghan for sure. This game felt pretty close, but Jester starting to pull away. The Fire Punch there, however, is going to not only blank on Houndoom, he's going to make Houndoom stronger. Usually it has Early Bird, but this one has Flash Fire, and now Houndoom is pissed. That Flamethrower, more boosted than it was before. Certainly going to 2-hit KO Tar without issue here. And down it goes. Another one bites the dust. And another one's gone. And another one's gone. 5-5. 2 unrevealeds in the back for McMeghan. Thunderbolt. Down we go. Hopefully Roro was not relying on that Houndoom to remove Gengar and/or he's boned, because that would mean that he's boned. Here comes Swampert. And again it comes in on Thunderbolt, nice and safe. Gotta like Jester's position in this one. Looking like we might go to a third game. And yeah, why wouldn't you Earthquake there? Roro hasn't shown anything yet that can switch into it. So down goes the Magneton. Now Venusaur comes in, but Jester's lead starting to grow. We know Venusaur has Giga Drain, which obviously he's not about to let it eat. So here comes Jirachi. And that is immediately Leech Seeded. Couldn't tell you what the last 2 are in the back for Roro. I mean, something like a Salamence makes sense with both Magneton and Houndoom, since it really appreciates both Gengar and Skarmory not being there. But I really have no clue. I don't think I've seen this team before from McMeghan. He's got a Jirachi in the back, so there's only 1 hidden poke. Not only is Will-O-Wisp going to miss, but insult to injury, Fire Punch is going to burn instead. 20% chance of doing that rather than 10 because of Serene Grace. And there is Protect. Will-O-Wisp would have hit that time, ironically, but it's protected against. So Jester in 4 attempts, keeping in mind that one of them was protected against, is yet to land a Will-O-Wisp in this entire series. There we go. Just as I say that, finally does connect with one. Venusaur is now burnt. Congratulations, Jester. Zapdos in against the burnt Venusaur, which becomes Jirachi. Roro has still not shown his last. If I had to venture a guess, I would say Salamence, but far from 100% certain on that. And like I said, it's Aerodactyl. Don't know if it's better or worse than Mensier. I think worse because of the Swampert on the other side, but gonna be an uphill battle one way or another for Roro here. Does get the Rock Slide off, and down goes Cloyster. So on paper, making it a little bit closer, but still favor Jester's position here for sure. Aerodactyl presumably locked on Rock Slide here, has to get out of the way. This is a free Earthquake if he wants it, and he does read the situation correctly and knows that he could free Earthquake here. Neither Jirachi nor Venusaur would like it one bit, and it ends up being the Jirachi that's forced to eat it. Goes for Protect, trying to milk that toxic damage and get some lefties back at the same time. Killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Swampert's still relatively healthy, however. And Wish comes down, as does the lethal Earthquake. Was probably hoping that Swampert would either switch or would do something other than Earthquake, thinking maybe Aerodactyl comes in. Hindsight 2020, but the better play, as it turns out, would have been for Roro to go to Aerodactyl there, but no longer an option. Now he has only the Aerodactyl. Gonna have to get him there. He goes for Rock Slide. I mean, who cares what you go for there? You wouldn't break the Rachi. But as it turns out, despite imperfect accuracy, despite the flinch chance, Hydro Pump going to get him anyway. Speeds up the inevitable. Roro is never going to win the game from that position with just the Aerodactyl. And we are off to a Game 3 as Jester takes this one down. In between games advertising, once again, this one's much faster than before. If you've been enjoying it, please consider hitting the like button, and please consider subscribing to my channel. Let's go to Game 3. Switch those sides one more time. Roro, McMeghan on the bottom, Jester on the top. We have a Vaporeon lead. Its first appearance in the tournament for Roro, and Jester out of the way with his Mence, does not want to eat a possible Ice Beam, but that's not what happens. He's going to Baton Pass out, and curiously, when he can Baton Pass to anybody on his team, the thing that he chooses to bring into T-Tower is Jirachi. I mean, it works out well when you Body Slam Power full power instantly, but otherwise I would think that that's a bit of a head scratcher. HP Grass, and T-Wave back. I love me some T-Wave Tower. I'm glad to see someone other than me using that. I'm a big fan. There's Wish, and there's Flamethrower for a hefty 49%. They're both paralyzed, so it defaults to who would be faster normally, which in this case is the Jirachi. Does still have the higher speed stat than T-Tar. So, Blissey coming in, full power on Rachi, which eats its own Wish. We know now that it's max HP based on the damage that Seismic Toss did, and here is Wish yet again. Nobody really needs it, but never bad to have it floating. T-Wave there in over-prediction, hits something that's already paralyzed, and it's going to full power here. So, eats his own Wish, goes up to a hundo, and we're back to this. Both of them at full health. Seismic Toss, 24. And Wish again. Added layer of protection. Not sure what the Rachi's going to do to hurt the Blissey, but one thing at a time. Body Slam, fair enough. Damage pathetic, but trying to get a para. Eats its own Wish, back up to full health. This may take a minute if they're both going to get stubborn and neither one will switch here. There's like a super duper outside chance that the Blissey could kill the Jirachi, but it would involve a hell of a lot of untimely paras. Roro's still fishing for his own para, but the Body Slam rolls have twice cooperated for Jester here. Not that it would be the end of the world if the Blissey got paralyzed, it would just natural cure it away. Here comes Celebi. And there's S-Toss once again. Yeah, I mean, no meaningful damage on anything whatsoever on Roro's side. Not really on Jester's either, but he is paralyzed, the T-Tar is, from before, so that mildly matters, depending on the set. CM coming down from Celebi here. We could see, actually, that it is the Celebi who's faster, based on the sand. So he's going to BP the Intimidate and the CM boosts along with him. And now it makes sense why. That is not a fast Mence, it is a bulky Mence. Good old Toxic, which is probably a Wish variant. Toxic landing on the Vaporeon here. And he's going to Baton Pass out again, taking the boosts and the debuff with him. Recipient going to be Zapdos here. With the aid of a Calm Mind boost, how much damage shall he deal? Looks like none, because he's going to go for Substitute. So he's going to be able to pass a Substitute, a CM boost, and an Intimidate debuff to somebody. And somebody is just the Celebi again. S-Toss does break the sub. Zapdos can't make 404 subs. CM, Numero Dos, and Thunder Wave, which maybe could give him an untimely full power, but when he Baton Passes out, it's the same as when he switches out. It will activate Natural Cure and get rid of that problem. And he's actually going to Leech Seed him through the power and the Imperfect Accuracy, and it will connect. So Celebi totally safe now that Leech Seed is on Bliss. And that's going to prompt a switch, of course. The switch being meta. Baton Pass says +2/+2 to Magneton. Well, that could be bad. That might cook him here. Did Roro go Magneton in all three? I think he did. I think he brought Magneton in all 3 games. And that Thunderbolt, probably with Magnet, is gonna get him. Meta did not have the option to switch there, thanks to Magnet Pull. Nothing he can do, simply gets picked off by the boosted Magneton. And now Sub, which I guess is just a block T-Wave, but it would have been instantly popped by Seismic Toss had he gone for that. But Jester out-predicted. And now Toxic comes down, which is really obnoxious, and this is all going to snowball pretty quickly because the Magneton, I think, is going to keep subbing. And once the Blissey does switch out, something's going to take a Thunderbolt that it does not want to take. That is even worse. Thunderbolt just crits the Blissey there. And Jester claims that he T-Waved again on that turn, but not looking good. That crit matters, and wow, he's going to easily eat the Flamethrower here. And Thunderbolt kills yet again. Passing CM is very powerful. Who knew? Jester down to just 3 pokes against all 6 from Roro. Starmie going to try to kill Magneton here. And McMeghan out of the way, but the damage is done. Magneton the sweeper, apparently. Don't know how many times you've seen a Magneton kill 3 pokes in a row, but we just saw it. Surf coming down, looking for the help of a crit or a full para. No such luck, as Wish happens anyway. Full power now, so a crit would kill him. Nope. And the Wish is going to kick in, and we are back to square one as Jirachi is back up to 83%. This is looking dire for Jester in this Game 3. Gonna Wish yet again, one more opportunity to kill him with a Surf crit. Well, a crit on that damage roll wouldn't have killed him anyway, but it doesn't come. And Body Slam does find the para. This is going absolutely nowhere. Rachi healthy yet again. Gonna pull it back. Here comes Hariyama. Into Celebi, which hasn't actually shown an attacking move, so maybe Hari could do some damage here. Gonna tighten his focus. And this is probably going to be underwhelming. Yeah, Stab Focus Punch from a pretty high base attack stat is going to do a paltry 27% against the bulky and resisting Celebi. Well, that's going to do a lot more. Hidden Power Bug, so that's going to wake Celebi up a little bit, but even with that nice damage, Jester is still so far behind. Going to try to focus punch yet again. And he's just going to recover. Back to square one. Celebi totally healthy and fine now. Problem with focus punching is that even if Roro just baton passes out, he will know that the focus punch is coming, so he can choose what he wants to switch into it, and it'll just never be that big of a deal. He's never going to switch, say, the Magneton into a focus punch that he knows is coming. He'll just switch to the Zapdos that resists it, or to the Jirachi that can handle it, or what have you. So here comes the Hidden Power Bug. Hariyama slowly but surely dying to that Leech Seed. A humiliating and gradual death, but that's what we're witnessing here. Hidden Power again, getting desperate. Looking for a crit or something, but I don't see how Jester can win this game at this point. I really don't. This Tar is not DD in the first place, and even if it were, it's paralyzed. Maybe an off-star, but like, it would have to go through the whole team. It would need such timely crits, freezes, power, full powers, the whole gamut, the whole gamut, the whole smorgasbord of effects. Whole shebang. The whole kit and caboodle. Jester's not conceding, but I'm struggling to see a way out. First two games relatively close, but this one looking like a one-sided Roro stomp. Here's T-Tar coming in, and finally Celebi baton passes out. Poisoned Vaporeon, the recipient. Curse there just 21%, keeping in mind that it does have a special defense buff. T-Tar out, of course, because it would just die to a water attack. Starmie comes in instead. Handles it, 36%. Jester would need to catch a lot of breaks, and I don't even think it's an off-star, given the fact that it just clicked recover there. Substitute on the recover turn, which you can now pass. Here comes Tar, and the recipient's going to be the Zapdos, the Electhor, if you will. Man, game 3 I think is a 6-0. Oh yeah. Thunderbolt, full para, Thunderbolt, and then Zapdos kills the Starmie. It is a 6-0. It is a decisive victory for McMeghan in this one. The first two games were close. This one was not. Gonna absolutely toss Jester around like the small child that he is, and finally put one up on the board for the Boomers. The Young Guns have been dominating this round one, but Roro is going to stand his ground for the Boomers and take the Game 3 victory over Roro. And that was pretty much it. In the comments, Roro said you couldn't do much after the crit, and Jester said, yeah, I noticed. Tee-hee-hee. Don't know how it would have played out differently had the Bliss not been crit. Obviously, the Blissey would have been a valuable asset. Would it have been enough for Jester to win the game? I don't know. But that's a whole lot of speculative shoulda, coulda, woulda that I and my throat, after narrating 6, 7 sets, however many it's been today, just can't get into right now. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, do my throat and I a solid and hit that like button. It's the final set for me of the round, but I'm waiting on sets for a couple other people, and I'll get those up as soon as I get them. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in round 2 of CALLOUS Invitational 7, where the eliminations will begin.